Hey, 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 how's everybody doing? Itching for a trade entry? Yeah, we'll definitely take a look, see what we can find. How about that entry last night, guys? Man. Man. That was quite the entry. Okay. So, what were we talking about last night? Well, first actually, let's say what's up to everybody. What's up, Rob? How you doing, man? Japan Carbon, welcome back. Bearded Mike, always good to see you, man. Cubanadian, pleasure. Ando Poncho, welcome back, man. Geeky, good to see you. Ligma Wick, what's up, bro? Full Runner, good to see you as always, man. What's up, Max? Welcome back, man. Hey, TF, welcome back, man. Good to see you. We've been killing it, bro. You've been gone. Welcome back, my friend. Okay, so last night we were looking at Bitcoin to come down into this green box. What is this green box? Well, the green box was the 90-minute 200 EMA trade that I was talking to you guys about, sweeping the liquidity in this low, coming into the 200 EMA and bouncing out. So we got that on the stream last night. And then I told you guys to watch for the break of structure. I told you guys to draw your premium and discount zone and to take the long position from here. Stop below the low, targeting the high of the range, targeting yesterday's high. Right, we were looking at this 2.83 trade. We had hit the target earlier today. So if any of you guys took that, congratulations. Put a 1 in the chat if you took this trade we've been looking at. Nice, clean trade. Okay. But that's enough about yesterday. Let's take a look at what's going on now. One thing I do just want to explain is why that trade was so appealing, right? So one thing we can look at here is, let's switch over to the 15-minute here. So this large wick to the downside, this was a really high volume push. Do you guys remember yesterday we were looking at that volume delta on the wick of that candle, and we saw how there was like 60 million people sold short down there, and then about 40 million bought back up, and it created that wick on volume, and how it was the biggest volume since Wednesday. So that's a strong bounce because it's a bounce backed by volume. Not only that, if you take the lows here, this is for anyone who didn't take the trade because they were scared. We're just gonna go over this so that next time you can pull the trigger. If you look here, we also SFP'd the low twice, right? So this came down, this was an SFP, then we broke structure here, right? We broke structure here. What did I tell you guys, right? So you wait for the 15-minute break of structure or the 5-minute break of structure. This was also a 5-minute break of structure, right? That's why you don't get long here. You don't get long here. You get long the 5-minute break of structure. Comes back up. You could have even been a little bit more greedy. I gave you the premium discount zones because I didn't want you guys to miss this bottom because that was a really bullish reaction at the bottom. So I want to make sure you guys got in. But if you wanted to be a little bit more greedy about it, you could have gotten in at the golden pocket, right? And had a little bit better of a risk to reward. This trade, since it came to the golden pocket, there was no reason not to take this trade. That's a 5-to-1. Absolutely no reason not to take that trade. All right, you had your 15-minute break of structure at a key area. You had your golden pocket retrace, 5-to-1 risk to reward. Someone asked me to go over risk to reward on the stream. So when you have a trade setup like this, you take this trade every time. So let's go over all the reasons you take this, right? So since this is a 5-to-1 or 4-to-1 risk to reward, that means you could lose 3 of these trades and win 1, and you would still be profitable, right? If you take this trade, you let the RR play out, it basically pays for your next 4 entries with the same risk, right? Now, some other reasons why you take this trade. So if we get some confluence with our value areas, I got to get a clean chart on here, but this is the chart that I use. Let's see. I need to just create a new layout for the stream. Yeah. So if we grab our value area, I'm going to clean this up a little bit for you guys. Just bear with me here. Okay. Okay, so we had the value area low, we had the 90-minute 200 EMA, we had a 15-minute break of structure, we had a 15-minute SFP, and we have a 4.27 to 1 risk to reward. So, yeah, you're taking a trade at the value area low, running it to the high. Do you guys understand why this trade was so appealing, right? Also had break of momentum. Break of momentum, retest the momentum. Break of structure, higher low, continuation. It's all there. It's all there. Your PO3 guys, right? 1, 2, retest the order block of the low, go, right? It's all there. Okay. Enough harping on that. But hopefully you guys understand that, why we wanted to take that trade yesterday. Okay. So what have we done now? So internally, we're trying to break our 4-hour internal structure right now. There's a lot of time left on this candle, though. We have flipped. Oh, this was also a 1-hour break of structure here. Man, look at that perfect retest of the 1-hour break of structure as well. Yeah, so this morning retest. So again, guys, we're going to go over this again, right? Range, initiation, mitigation, continuation, right? You're going to see this all the time, right? Range, initiation, mitigation, continuation. Okay. Now, let's go over the morning price action a little bit, right? So, a really good thing about the morning. Let me throw on a 50 EMA here. Is the music loud, guys? Can you guys hear me? I'm going to turn that down a little bit. I didn't realize I was still on. Okay. Okay. So this blue line is your 50 EMA. This is your 200. So there was so much confluence at this low here. For anyone using Cipher Matrix, right, we have a wick into the reversal zone. We have a deep MACD flip. We have a MACD cross. We have the trend ribbon flipping blue afterwards. You had a bunch of reasons to get long. You have the orb reclaim trade, right? You have the orb breakout, continuation trade, back to the highs. There was a lot of trades this morning. But I want to go over, let's turn off Cipher Matrix for a second. I want to just let's turn off the orb. So I want to just go over the EMA confluence for this trade. So we know going into this that mitigating this range is bullish. But let's say we didn't know that. Let's say we don't understand market structure at all, okay? If you did understand market structure, you would have seen the SFP at the highs, break of structure down, you would have known you were coming down. But if you don't you see this EMA cross here, right? You know that that the best place to now buy to get into this trend, this bullish trend that has just started, the best place to buy is down here. Does everybody understand that? Better without the music? Okay, let me turn off the music. Okay, the best place to buy is down here to get into this new trend that just formed, right? Okay. Now, what was unique about this is that we just formed this new trend on the 5-minute. We know that we're looking to buy down here. What's our invalidation for this? Well, if this, wait, are these flipped? Is it 50? What is this? Wait. Oh, okay, hold on, guys. I was really confused. Okay, the idea is the same. I had the EMAs wrong. That gave me a brain fart there. But yeah, this is the same idea. So underneath the 200, you're buying because the 50 is above it, right? The original cross was just here. Okay. So the cool thing about this was that on the 15-minute, we also had an EMA cross. So both the 5 and the 15-minute had just started a new uptrend. And what does that mean? Well, that means that we're looking to get into it down here with confluence on 2 time frames. Right? So you had 2 time frame confluence to buy down here. And what happens? We come down here and we get bullish continuation. Also, keep in mind when we are bullish, like on market open for New York, you're generally going to get a liquidity grab most of the time, right? And I mean, if you understand market structure as well, we just bounced off this breaker block, right? But that's not, you don't need to know that to see that this is a good trade. Now, when we're in this range here, what do I tell you guys, right? All of these chances they gave you to buy. If you assume that the general uptrend, the large uptrend that we're in, that this is just a flag and that we're going to continue higher, your best entry points are going to be underneath the EMAs. If that's all you look at, you would have known to buy underneath these unless this 50 comes back down and invalidates you. And all 3 times you got a nice bounce to take profit, right? And you could still be holding that up to the liquidity in this triple top that we talked about yesterday. There's still a ton of liquidity here, right? Okay. And so after we lose the 1 hour 200 a couple times, that's why we were then looking at the 90-minute 200, right? Because the next logical place for us to test is going to be the next EMA, which would be the 90-minute. And that's why we were also looking at the 2 hour down here with this golden pocket, because if we lost that 90-minute, it would make sense to come test this 2 hour, but they bounced it off the 90-minute. So hopefully that breaks down a little bit today for you guys. Okay, let's turn Cipher Matrix back on here. Okay, let's look at our general uptrend as well. So if you have a breakup structure here, anyone who's watched the one-on-one that I did with Kelphant, you'll know that once you have a breakup structure, you can take your ray and you can draw your uptrend line. Now, if you had done this, just a simple trend line, your simple I am wrong line, right? You would have known to buy here this morning as well. So you guys can understand why, if we have everything turned on, if you're using Cipher Matrix, you know that we started a new uptrend. You could have bought here, or you could have bought here. Here, there was confluence with, breakout retest. And then here, there was confluence with this blue support level. There was confluence with this reversal zone. There was confluence with the uptrend line. There was confluence with your deep MACD flip. There's a lot of confluence down here. You could have even waited for the trend ribbon to flip blue if you wanted to. There's so much confluence here. No reason not to get long here. Okay. Now, let's look at some structure. So all of this structure here on the 1 hour is going to be internal because this low, this is a higher low. So this is your relevant high to flip your 1 hour market structure. No, sorry, not that. This is your, where did we flip it bearish? Flip it bearish here. Oh no, sorry, yeah, the 1 hour flip bullish here. I'm wrong, sorry, hold on. Not the 1 hour, that would be the 4 hour, hold on. So we flipped our 1 hour bullish here. Bullish, bearish here. Okay. Okay, so we just flipped our 1 hour bullish. Our 1 hour market structure is now bullish off of this high being broken here. That's good. So we're trying to flip this value area high to support here. I anticipate that this is going to, if this doesn't hold a support, right, any retrace here, you're wanting to buy with the expectation that we're going to run the highs. Based on structure, as long as this low holds, right? And this is kind of your basic uptrend. If this, like if we are going to get a 618 retrace, then this trend line would have to break. If this trend line doesn't break, then we're still in the current leg of the uptrend, right? That's why you have your I am wrong line. That's why this trade here is so appealing, because the risk to reward is really high, right? Because should this trend line break, I don't want to be in the trade anymore, and that's a 6 to 1, right? Which means you only have to win 1 out of 6 of those trades to be profitable. So that's why drawing your uptrend line is important. You think there's a good long? Yeah, I would argue that there's been a good long pretty much all day. but yeah, just structurally, right? Because this was such good bottoming structure. Obviously, it starts to get worse in terms of like if you're putting your stop way down here, but there's ways to get in line with structure. Another reason why this entry was so good is because your relevant low on the 5 minute was right here. So if this low breaks with a close, you wouldn't want to be in this trade anymore. So if you're entering here based on 5 minute, give yourself like some SFP room. You're looking at like 10 to 1. It's about risk to reward. Risk to reward is everything. Now let's talk about the exciting stuff. Let's go to the daily. Let's hide our drawings here. Look at our daily Heiken Ashy candles. What do you notice? What do I tell you guys over? No, okay, we can go back to the Binance chart now. What do I tell you guys over and over again, right? Strong bullish trend ribbon, and I mentioned this yesterday as well. Strong bullish trend ribbon, best place to get into the trend, the wicks underneath the trend ribbon. What have we done? We have wicked under the trend ribbon, and look at this daily candle. This looks really bullish. Again, what did we go over on the indicators before? Why were we anticipating this trend continuation? Because of this 4-hour setup. I posted this in the Discord earlier today. Do you guys remember a couple days ago, I think it was the weekly open stream, we back tested, meaning we looked at what happens in the past when the 4-hour indicator does this. Low of the trend. Right? We back tested that. We looked back and we said, hey, what happens every time that the 4-hour gets overheated, big trend move, the oscillator has time to reset, and we get a bullish MACD cross under the 0 line. Oh, well, it turns out to be a low for the trend. Right? So that's what we're seeing here. And I told you guys to set an alert or to be aware of when this 4-hour MACD crosses for that exact reason. It crossed here, you would have got faked out a little bit, but I mean the low wasn't that much lower, right? And that's the thing, right? That with risk to reward, it's okay to lose. You don't have to win every trade. No one wins every trade. You just have to take high probability setups and understand structure and understand and make sure that you're taking trades with the trend. Now, another reason that we stay bullish here is even if we're going off Heiken Ashi structure, right, which is a little bit more dangerous on the 4 hour because of this break of structure, even if we're doing that, we're not bearish until 115 to 66 breaks, because otherwise this looks like just a stop hunt of all of these weekend lows, stop everyone out, hold the range deviation level, give you a couple more chances to get in. Again, risk to reward. Another way, if you watch the range deviation videos, that you could have participated in this trend. 3-to-1 trade there. TP1 is going to be the premium of the range, 121.733. Obviously TP2 at the highs, and then if we keep going up, it turns into a much higher risk to reward trade. But if you're using the range deviations, we're still targeting 121.733. So 4 hour looks good because of this MACD cross here. Yes, 2 consecutive candles in the same direction, Mike, makes a valid high or low. So, like for example, this would not be a valid low because it's only one red candle in that direction, right? This would be. This would be. And the same applies to up candles as well. Okay, let's look at the 12 hour, or the 6 hour. 6 hours crossing. So what do these ranges effectively do? Well, they do a couple of things, right? They allow your EMAs to catch up to price. You know what? We're going to do a lesson on EMAs real quick. This stuff is important. Okay, so there's 2 ways that price can interact with an EMA, okay? So let's say you have a big trend move. Or let's say this is your EMA. That's your EMA. So there's a couple ways that price can interact with it. Yeah, I use both TF every day. Where's the path tool? Am I dumb? Oh, there it is. Okay. So price can do this. Right? In a trend move. Or, okay, this is not making my point correctly. Okay, price can do this. This is a little bit of a weaker move, right? Because the price comes back to the EMA. It doesn't mean that you won't get continuation. It doesn't mean that this won't break. It just means that it's a little bit of a weaker move. Because look, it came all the way back up to this like 786 or 618, somewhere between there, right? So it's not that strong of a move. But when price does this, and I'll show you guys an example of this, and your EMA does this, that is a lot stronger of a move, because what's the difference? In one of them, your price action comes back to your EMA. It's less strong. In the other one, your EMA is pulled down to price, and then you drop. So, and the same works in the inverse. And let's look at a really good example of this. So, let's go back to our consolidation range, and let's look at here. When the drop first started. Okay, let's go to like the 1 hour. Let's look at the war drop. The bombs or whatever. Okay. Okay, we got to go on a smaller time frame. If I had like the 21 on here, it'd be easier to see on those time frames. Bear with me here. Okay. For example, we had this big sell-off here. Okay, what is this? This is June 30th. Okay, let's do this. Okay, cool. This is what I'm looking for. So we had this big aggressive sell-off here. Big aggressive sell-off. And we had price kind of range here. And this 50 EMA got pulled. You notice how it got pulled all the way down to price? And then, again, what do? We sell above both, right? But whenever the EMA gets pulled way down to price, that is generally a sign that the move is strong. And if you'll notice, this move did not retrace very far at all. This looks like it was probably a 382 retrace. Yeah, it was a 382 retrace, right? So instead of the price like dumping down and coming back up to the 50 EMA and then coming down and trying to break it, right? You didn't get that fast recovery that you often see. The EMA got pulled all the way down to price, and then you got a continuation leg down off the 382. So that's kind of what a strong trend looks like. These consolidation ranges provide time for the EMAs to come to price and for the oscillators to reset. Notice how this oscillator had to reset all the way back up to positive, and then we could get that big explosive move back down, right? So that looks like this upside down, right? That looks like this upside down. So that's what these ranges do. They give your oscillators time to reset, and they give your EMAs time to catch up. Now your 4-hour 200 EMA is still way down here, right? It hasn't caught up, but this is a really bullish move. Now going back to what we were saying, looking at some regular candles here. When we were looking at this big macro range deviation here, originally, when we were looking at this, we were saying, hey, let's look at what happened in the past when we got these range deviations. So this one, we can draw this like, we can use the, okay, it doesn't matter. This range deviation would be pulled a little bit differently, but it doesn't matter. We closed above this range deviation, and we just went straight up. So that's one thing that we know happens in the past. Let's look at some other ones. This one, for example, what happened? We came up, we broke above it, we consolidated for 1, 2, 3 weeks, then we went. Right? So we know that another option that can happen is we consolidate before we pump another 10%. Right? Let's look at another one. What's another thing that can happen? This one, we got above it, we consolidated for a week, and then we went. After we consolidated for 1 week, we went up another 10%. Okay, so we know that can happen. Let's look at another one. After we broke out of this one, we just went. So that's another example of just going. But what you'll notice is when we confirmed these range deviations up, Bitcoin doesn't give you a chance to get in on a mitigation right away most of the time. Right? This one closed above. Well, this was the top. But you still notice closed above, consolidates for a week, and then you get another push. Now, it was the top still, right? But it went up another 12%, right? So these range deviations do lead to bigger moves on the weekly because this is when direction is confirmed. Closes above here, went up another 12% before mitigating the range. Now, if we're doing some backtesting like this, do you guys notice that the number 10 and 12 comes up a lot? That's probably something to keep an eye on, right? That's probably a good idea of how far we might go before we might try to look for a mitigation or something like that, right? So if we apply that logic, we know that one outcome that could happen right now is that we consolidated for a week, and now we might get our push. And if we were going to try to see where we could possibly end up, well, if we pump 10% like we did before, we're looking at $130,000 Bitcoin, right? Do we have any confidence in that level? Well, let's see. So if we take our targets from our Fibonacci's, yeah, we do. We have a 2.272 at 130,000. What about from our targets from this range? Look at that. We have a 1618, 130,000. So by stacking confluences like this, you can develop a bias that isn't based on a story or what people are saying on Twitter or what someone on YouTube says. Even me, go back, do this stuff yourself. We're just looking at charts here, right? We're not trying to be a prophet. We're just trying to read what the charts are telling us. And by stacking confluences like this, we can understand that if history is going to repeat itself, likely we're going to consolidate here, probably come up to test this, and then maybe we'll try to mitigate the range. Not necessarily that we have to mitigate the range before going higher, but just that in the past with these range deviations, has not happened in at least what we can see in recent history that Bitcoin will confirm a range deviation and then mitigate the range and give you a chance to get back in, right? It doesn't do that. It's going to rip your face off first. Most of the time. It doesn't mean that that can't happen now and it can't prove me wrong, right? And even if it does, I hope you guys can understand the importance of this stuff, like even if it happens to be wrong this time. But I don't think it's going to be wrong. Yeah. Anyway, so that's why we're looking for longs at the bottom sides of these ranges at these key EMA levels to ride up to our further targets. That's why when this initially closed up here, I told you guys to long everything. And do you guys remember what happened right after this closed up here? Altcoins went nuts. Like that, you would have longed the bottom of these altcoin ranges if you had longed everything right here. And the reason that I said that is because like we were looking in the past at our back test, right? Sometimes it'll close above this range deviation and it will just go. So I wanted you guys to be prepared for the situation where it just goes. A prepared trader is a profitable trader. Do you guys have any questions about any of that? Put a 1 in the chat if that made some sort of sense to you. Okay, yeah, Bull Runner. You probably might need to go back and watch that a couple times. It can take a second to understand, but yeah. But hopefully, okay, awesome. Glad to see that some of y'all that made sense. Okay. So with that being said, let's get into current price action here. So let's look at our 4-hour. So 4-hour internal structure. Oh, okay. Yeah, internal structure broke bullish on the 4-hour. On regular candles. So we have a breaker block here. Should we find ourselves down here? Is there fib confluence here? Yeah, there's probably 0.5 there. Yeah, so that's a breaker block and discount. Should we find ourselves around 118? That's going to be a good entry with your stop below this low. Internal structure. Let's see. Look at our 1-hour. Yeah, I mean, I think. Yeah, I'm just going to give you guys a level so you're prepared, but I think this looks good. Finding support on the previous value area high. Yeah. If this value area high, previous high level holds here, that could spark a move up here. If this does hold. Now, where is short-term targets? There's a lot of liquidity in these highs. So we have a target up here. for liquidity around 121,000, and then we have that premium of the range target. Sitting up here at 121. Wait, sorry. This is the proper range since that was a deviation. Okay, 121,682. That would be your next target. So these would be the two levels I'd be looking to secure some profit on along. 121,000 and 121,646. Should we come up and pull this high and not SFP, we're likely going to 125. Close above 125, we're going to 130. So close above here, we're going to 125. Close above 125. Maybe close above 125, mitigate, continue, but ultimately we're going to 130. Because you close above 125, that confirms that this is not a range deviation, that this is actually going higher. So we'd look to our higher target of this 130 region. That's what I see to the upside. Hey, what's up, Lo? How you doing? All right, and go ahead and post any alts that you want to look at in the charts. That's everything I'm looking for on Bitcoin. So I do think ultimately we're going to see 130 before we mitigate the 118 region. I think that because of the weekly range deviation that confirmed and everything I just went over in that little segment for you guys. And locally, I think 118 would be a dream long here. And I think that ultimately we're probably going to run this liquidity of 121 and then 121.7 in terms of locally in the range. POW? SEI? Yeah. Let's look at one more thing before I switch. So Bitcoin Gold, I was telling you guys to watch this high up here. We still need to watch that. We got that bounce out of demand here perfectly. I'm still kind of worried about, it looks a little bit like distribution on the gold pair, but with the USD pair putting in such a nice spring here, like it looks like an accumulation pattern on the USD pair and a distribution pattern on the gold pair. So I'll feel a lot better about hitting that 130K target after we break the structure here. So I would set an alert on your gold pair for this high breaking. And that's internal though. Yeah, it would have to be this high, but that's going to not give you as much of a warning. Yeah, I would still set an alert for this high breaking. Because that would be a signal to at least run it up to here, which would be, you'd be able to capture like $1,000 move there. But yeah, I like an internal structure break here, like 33, 35, 55. This has already been mitigated. I think we broke internal 30-minute structure here. Yeah, then we came back down to retest 30-minute order block. You gotta love how this chart respects levels. Yeah, making our way back up now. Okay, yeah, that's enough on Bitcoin. This chart, the break of structure is a little far away, so it doesn't really help us that much. Okay. POW, yeah, let's look at POW. What is that? Oh yeah, we looked at this yesterday, huh? Let's see. Scam Wix U SFP. Came back up. What is this? I mean, I wouldn't long this right now, but I know you're already in a long, Joey. I think we take this high. 14.27 is another spot I'd lock in profit. Because this could very easily, Joey, come back down and retest this trend line and then go, right? I mean, if you're really bullish on the fundamentals here, then you can try to hold your long. I know you're in from like here. I just want you to know that generally with TA, we would expect this to get mitigated. So we would expect this to come back to your entry and then go higher. So I would at least pay yourself a little bit up here since you're up like 400%. I'd look to pay yourself at 0.1427. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's look at SCI. Okay. I still like this level. What was that? 27 cents if we get it. I still like this. Let's turn on. Yeah, I still like this demand mitigation if we get it down at 27 cents. We just lost our uptrending momentum from the low. So if you were in like a swing long from like the reclaim, we just lost it. So it would be a key to take some profit. If we're able to reclaim this trend line, then you would flip bullish on momentum again. But right now it looks like this is a little overheated. We did bounce from the breaker block here. So you have that going for you. That would have been the level that I was looking at if we were going to get saved here. Did we break any structure out of that low? Hold on. No. Maybe on the 12 minute? No. Heiken-Ashi? No. Yeah. I mean, I like this better if you can break this. If you can break 35.48, then I like a mitigation long. You're trying to hold your uptrending momentum. If you're in a long, I would draw this uptrend line for your momentum as a I'm wrong line here. If you're able to start closing candles above 35.48, then you can draw your premium and discount zones here. Like if you get above this, and you can look for something like this. Is that a 3-to-1? 2, 4, 5-to-1. All right, if you're really bullish on the fundamentals of this shitcoin and you think it's going to go higher, wait, no, that's not the right trade. Hold on. Okay, yeah, that is a 3-to-1. Yeah, I like this. I'd take this trade. So if you can break structure above 35.48, come back down, get an entry around 34.56, that's a 3.8-to-1 to the highs. I'd take that trade. Yeah, so notice how we came up here above the 4-hour 0.5, and we have the bearish. So you had your bearish 250 cross, sell above, right? To write it back down. You're coming above it now. You're trying to come back down and hold the 50. If you don't hold the 50, you're likely kind of come down and swipe this liquidity. If you're able to hold the 50 and cause a bullish cross, then that would put into play what I'm saying, right? Come up. Come back down underneath the 200, grab the long, stop loss down here, ride it up. That's what I see. Okay. And let's see, what was after that? Fart. Yeah, we can look at whiff. Sure, Max. Let's look at whiff. I haven't looked at whiff in a while. Where's my TA on whiff? So we came down, order box, let's see. Alright, we'll just start a new chart. I think it's on another layout. Okay. $12-hour, you did get a bullish cross. You got your bullish cross here. Accumulated for a while. Came down and tested the reversal zone. Now you're in the trend move. Let's look at the weekly. Yeah, that weekly order block was nice. Yeah, we're likely coming here on whiff in like the medium term. So logical next place to hit your head is going to be 173. So you broke your market structure back bullish here. Came back down to bounce from your order block. I really like how whiff respects levels. I will give whiff that. You got your nice bounce from there. Coming back up, trying to break these highs. I think we will. I think we will take the liquidity in these highs. 139.18. So if we're looking more short term, you broke your daily back bullish here internally. Came back down to the 0.5. Arranged a little bit off to the races. Took the liquidity in this high. Came back down to this order block. I don't see whiff having much problem getting above here. Yeah, you already bounced from demand here. Let's look at our 4-hour. Flagging out on the 4-hour. So you did break the 4-hour bearish internally here, but it looks like a range deviation. If I'm pulling the range here. Yeah. Yeah, as long as whiff doesn't close any candles below 114, I like a long from discount. Targeting the liquidity in the highs. That's a 2.5 to 1, and ultimately you could try to ride this up to that more weekly target in terms of a 7 to 1. I like this trade, so I like 121-ish. You kind of already had the wick test of 122.81, but I still, to get the good RR, I would still prefer 121.84 along from there. But yeah, I think whiff looks good. It's hitting its head on a little bit of, or it's got a little bit more room to go until it hits that on there. Like if it does something like this, I like an entry here. That's what I see on whiff. Okay. Let's see. Fart, H fart, yeah, sure. Yeah, we can look at fart. I love fart. Hold on, my stream is like freezing. 1 second. You're seeing 130 or 140? Yeah. Yeah, 140. That lines up with what I'm seeing. Okay. Nice. Look at fart go. Look at it go. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, people tell you to short these coins because they're paying good on funding fees, but you're getting paid to lose a trade. Like, be careful with all that arbitrage, fee arbitrage stuff. Okay. So yeah, so we flipped this spider line to support, likely coming to the next spider line. If we hit that today, that puts you at 171 for a good target for today. Now, if we flip this spider line to support, go to the next one, looking at 187, which we already swiped. There was not that big of a reaction off swiping the liquidity from these highs. That's nice. So we swiped the liquidity from the highs. We came down. This is looking pretty bullish. Let's look at our indications here. Strong EMA cloud. Remember, you're buying underneath when it's bullish. Oh, man. Yeah, guys, I mean, when you get these coins that are just running in this FOMO state, you really do want to be buying on these dips below the 200. Like when it's gaps, such big gaps like this. They're going to be your best entries into the trend. Perfect sniper entries. Yeah, it's pretty overheated right now. Like any entry that you're gonna get, you want to get like these scalp time frame entries, right? So, like on the 15 minute, when the 15 minute came below the 200 here earlier today, that would have been an entry point for you. Here, yeah, you didn't get invalidated. You had nice cipher matrix confluence here at the lows. Nice double buy signal. Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to get into FART, I would just set some buy alerts on your cipher matrix on your 15 minute and your 5 minute and try to catch like these scalp entries. So yeah, so like here's examples. Like on the 5 minute, you had the bullish continuation flip here. You had the retest underneath. You could have bought that for continuation up. Just know that you're entering towards like in a really overheated state, right? You can obviously take any of these 5 minute buys on cipher matrix whenever it's pumping like this, as long as you have your confluences, you're underneath the 200, you're in the reversal zone, you're getting a buy signal. These lower time frames, I mean, look at this dashboard. It'll tell you, right? Like you're entering in something that's really bullish, but you're going to be taking profit at previous highs. So if you're taking this trade, right, you're going to be taking profit at the highs because that's a 5-to-1. Right? If you're scalping, you can obviously leave a runner, but pay yourself, because in order for your risk to reward to work for you, you have to be taking profit at these high risk to reward rates. So yeah, I would let it cool off if you're not already in a trade and try to get in under the 5 minute 200. That's what I would do. Okay. Let's see. ADA? Yeah, ADA hit our target from before. And then it cooled off. Yeah, I think I posted in the Discord that ADA hit 92.32. It was a spider line call here. This was our kind of sell box for any of the longs you guys were in. You notice like that I am wrong line we had, that it retested so it lost momentum, retested it right at the spider line. And then we had a sell off resulting out of that. Yeah, Fartcoin looks really bullish, Kiki. Interestingly, if we look, one more thing on Fartcoin. So Fartcoin against Sol is in this massive, like you could say cup and handle or like bull flag, whatever you want to call it, right? This looks really bullish against Solana. This looks really good. And the targets are... So based on this chart, you could see Fartcoin having like a 35% move against Solana. And if Solana's also going up, keep in mind like the USD value move is bigger. So Fartcoin could explode here. Which is nice because I bought a lot of Fartcoin down here. Okay. All right. So ADA hits the confluence of the 0.5 fib, or I don't know what this is. It's not, it's confluence. The confluence from this downtrending momentum here from the highs, hit that. It hit the spider line target that we had, 0.92. Where did it drop down to? Let's do a little bit of 4-hour analysis here. Was that like a? It's not an order block. Oh, okay, I see. It's a 2-hour order block. Came down to this 2-hour breaker block here. Bounced from there. Looks like we just lost the spider line bullish or bearish engulf on the 2-hour. What would I want to see for bullish continuation? I'd want to see 90 cents. I'd want to see this break. So you break above this. Let's see. Have a nice 15-minute order block here. So if you're looking for a scalp position, let me turn indicators on. Yeah. Taking all the liquidity in those lows. Yeah, I like this. I'd take this. Back up to here, 92 cents. Yeah, it's a 3-to-1. I like this. I'd like this better if we could break this 90, 96 level first, but with these, with the 200 here like this and the 50 above it, I would like a wick to take all the liquidity in these lows, right? Wick down into this. I'd look for like a 1-minute break of structure. I think that'd be sufficient here. A 1-minute break of, or okay, I'll be a little more conservative. A 2-minute break of structure here, right? Put your stop loss guard underneath to make your RR better. If you don't understand how to do that, then this stop loss is all right, because it will still give you a 3.46 to 1. So yeah, I would set an alert here. 87.09. Okay. H bar. So we can look at H bar and then probably gonna call. It's been about an hour. We might have time to do one more, but we'll look at H bar. Okay. So H bar is trying to get the 50 to cross above the 200 on the 15-minute. 1 hour looks good. 30-minute. Did we break? We did. Broke structure. I like these two levels. I like a SFP of this low, and I also like bouncing from here. So I would put like a buy box here. Does that give us the right RR? Yeah, that's confluence with the point of control there as well. Yeah, I like a point of control play. Yeah, I like a pool of these lows. So I'd set an alert at 26,735, point of control. Your TP1 is going to be here at the value area high in this kind of supply concern here. This would be your first take profit. This would be your first take profit here. Like 28 cents. But I like an entry here at 26,735. That's what I see on H bar. ARB, yeah, we can look at ARB. That's fine. Guys, just a quick call out. So if you are new here, go ahead, like the stream, ring the bell, and join the free learning Discord in the description. That's where I'm going to post like more intraday trades and more like intraday analysis. Come hang out with us. It's growing super quick. I appreciate all of you guys. I really appreciate the growth. It's pretty crazy. Okay. Okay, let me look at what this is before I start giving TA on this. So this coin launched here and has only ever gone down. What is ARB? Arbitrum. Oh, okay. I think that's in the top something or another. So it's not even above its lifetime VWAP. I mean, you could say, let's put in a bottom here. Yeah, so you got a nice range deviation bottom here. I think that if you close anything below 2250, you don't want to own this coin at all. You just SFP'd your weekly time frame. You just SFP'd your weekly. The only play I could justify on a coin like this is going to be like an order block, a weekly breaker block play. I mean, to this liquidity here, that's a 3-to-1. I mean, if you even just look at where you're, like if we go to our 2-day, like you got a death cross still. It's got a lot of work to do before. There's just better setups out there, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, if 2250 holds, there's a chance you can come take this liquidity, 96 cents. But there's stronger coins out there. I think your best bet is waiting for an entry down here at 37.86. That's what I see for ARB. Yeah, moo dang, bro. People are gonna miss it again, TF. They're gonna miss it again. These Coinbase memes, man, I'm telling you, it's they're gonna fly. They're gonna fly. Okay, guys. Well, it has been. Yep. I was telling people to long it down here at the demand retest at 3 cents before it went to 34 cents. But yeah. Thanks for stopping by, guys, as always. The growth is amazing. Thanks for liking the stream. I appreciate all you guys' support. Join the Discord. Check out Cipher Matrix. And as always, much love, guys. Trade safe, and Wave Cipher out.